Poker is a game of skill, strategy, and psychology. But what happens when one player's behavior at the table becomes more infamous than his wins?
I'm gonna call that obvious bluff.
Martin Kabrhel is one of the most controversial figures in poker today, not because of his impressive earnings, but because of his antics.
Take about 10 minutes before that decision is made as Kabrhel sits back, has a drink of water,
200 from
little
Poland.
conversation.
Imagine someone at the table constantly talking, interrupting, getting into your head.
Milking, yeah? Alex, milking. He's going for our blinds, but we are two towers. Sauron and Saruman. Did he use his timing, sir, or not? Mister?
Actually, it's to you, sir.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking the question.
That many chips.
What's the question?
Who knows?
Annoying, right? Well, that's Kabrhel's specialty. His mouth, his moves, and his questionable tactics have sparked more than just frustration. They've ignited serious allegations.
My problem is that you're not following the rules. Which rule?
And today, we're diving deep into what makes Martin Kabrhel the most controversial man in poker.
Martin's antics at the table are worse than anyone I've played with. Playing with him is unbelievably unpleasant. He's rude.
Martin Kabrhel isn't just any poker player. He's got millions in tournament earnings and a reputation that precedes him. But his story didn't begin on the international poker circuit. In fact, it's much more fascinating and controversial than that. Before poker, Kabrhel was a data analyst, specializing in fields that demanded an intense focus on numbers, patterns, and probability. These skills turned out to be the perfect training ground for his eventual move into professional poker. But it wasn't just his analytical brain that set him apart. It was his ability to get into the heads of his opponents. He didn't just rely on math, he relied on manipulating the mental state of every player sitting across from him.
Combined could in fact have the 6.
That's also a possibility.
Right.
As he starts to cut out, Martin says more, more, more.
When Kabrhel started playing in smaller European tournaments, he quickly became known for his calculated approach. He studied every aspect of the game, both the math and the psychology behind it. This analytical edge gave him the upper hand in many situations, but it was his evolving style of table talk that truly set him apart.
This, please. Next hand. Yes? Yeah? Next hand, yeah? I can count with that? Thank you.
He realized that controlling the pace and rhythm of a hand wasn't just about chips, it was about words, timing, and pressure. And his rise to poker fame was slow but deliberate. Starting from lesser-known tournaments, he honed his skills and tested out his controversial tactics. The constant chatter, the over-analysis, and the stalling became his trademarks. His strategy? Wear down opponents mentally, frustrating them into making mistakes, all while maintaining a calm demeanor himself.
It's gotten awfully quiet for Kabrhel.
Over time, this unusual playing style started to gain him attention, but not all of it was positive.
What do you think about Martin Kabrhel?
No, I don't like him. He's the most terrible human being. He's not even a human being.
By the time Kabrhel made his mark on the global stage, players were already divided. Some respected his strategic brilliance, while others found his antics unbearable. Poker, after all, is a mental game. But Kabrhel's methods seemed designed to push the mental limits of his opponents beyond what's considered fair play. At this point, Kabrhel's constant talking at the table became something of a legend in poker circles. It wasn't just the fact that he wouldn't stop talking, it was what he said. He'd analyze hands out loud, question players' decisions, and talk them through their own thought processes, sometimes accurately predicting what they were about to do.
Nice hand, Chris. Can you all show it, please?
No show. I thought there was like a 5% chance he was still just going to slow roll me with these.
Can I slow roll you, please?
You can slow roll me.
Okay.
And that's what made it so frustrating. He wasn't just distracting players, he was actively dismantling their confidence. Many poker pros have shared their experiences dealing with Kabrhel. Daniel Negreanu, one of the most respected players in the game, has openly called Kabrhel's behavior insufferable. Negreanu, known for his ability to read players, found himself at odds with Kabrhel's style. According to Negreanu, Kabrhel's constant talking not only delayed the game, but also turned what should be a fun and strategic contest into a mental endurance test. But Negreanu isn't the only one who's had a hard time with Kabrhel. Even players like Fedor Holtz, known for his calm and collected demeanor, have publicly voiced their frustration. Holtz described Kabrhel's antics as borderline disrespectful, noting that the endless chatter crosses a line from poker strategy into something more toxic. For Holtz, the psychological aspect of poker should never involve deliberately trying to unnerve your opponents with non-stop banter. He believes there's a fine line between strategy and harassment, and Kabrhel constantly walks that line.
No. Guys, anybody who I can slow roll as well?
But as frustrating as Kabrhel can be at the table, There are those who argue that he's simply playing the game in his own unique way. After all, poker is about finding any advantage you can, and Kabrhel's approach certainly gives him an edge. His analytical background plays a huge role in his success, as he's able to break down hands and players' tendencies in ways that others can't. While some see his talking as a distraction, others recognize it as a calculated tactic, a way to gather information and manipulate the game to his advantage. However, Kabrhel's tactics haven't just earned him a reputation as an irritating player, they've also sparked serious allegations. In 2023, during the World Series of Poker, WSOP, rumors began swirling about potential collusion involving Kabrhel. Multiple players reported suspicious behavior, suggesting that Kabrhel might be working with other players to manipulate outcomes. The accusations weren't just vague claims. Some players believed they witnessed collusion firsthand, pointing to subtle signals and interactions between Kabrhel and other players at critical moments in key tournaments.
The reason you're not allowed to stand is if the cards were marked, you'd have a better angle of it.
They created the rule for you to protect us.
Yeah,
If you have any more questions, let us know.
So, what were these allegations of collusion about? Some players claim that Kabrhel had agreements with other competitors to share information or even manipulate the flow of the game. In a game where millions are on the line, collusion is one of the most serious accusations a player can face. It not only undermines the integrity of the tournament, but also calls into question every move Kabrhel has ever made at the table. Kabrhel has been quick to defend himself. In interviews, he's denied any involvement in collusion, claiming that the accusations are baseless.
Have you ever cheated in poker?
No, I never cheated in poker, and my plan is never cheated in poker. Actually, my plan and my nature, I don't even have this word in my vocabulary, so basically I'm not planning to cheat, and yeah, I'm just not doing the wrong things. That's just how I'm living my life, so it's pretty simple. It's just like out of my mind that this is even like being discussed.
According to him, his aggressive table talk and unorthodox style have simply made him a target. In his words, those accusing him of collusion are just sore losers who can't handle his unique approach to the game. In a 2023 interview, he said, "I don't care what people think. If they can't handle the table talk, they shouldn't be at the table. This is poker. I play my way." But Kabrhel's denial hasn't stopped the speculation. Many players remain convinced that there's more to his success than meets the eye. One of Kabrhel's most infamous moments came during the 2019 World Series of Poker Europe, WSOP, $100,000 super high roller event. In one crucial hand, Kabrhel took what seemed like an eternity to make a decision, frustrating his opponent and delaying the game. This wasn't an isolated incident. Kabrhel has been notorious for slow rolling and taking extended time in big moments. What's especially controversial about this is that it disrupts the natural flow of the game, leaving other players visibly agitated. At the WSOP, Kabrhel faced heavy criticism not just from fellow players, but also from commentators and fans. Some accused him of deliberately stalling to put his opponents on tilt. Others argued that it was simply part of his mind game strategy, meant to wear down his opponents both mentally and emotionally. Kabrhel himself remained unapologetic, stating in interviews that he would continue to play at his own pace, regardless of the backlash. This moment only added fuel to the fire of his already controversial reputation. Players like David Peters and Sam Grafton publicly voiced their annoyance, calling for stricter rules to be enforced regarding time delays at the table. Despite the backlash, Kabrhel seemed to thrive in the chaos, never backing down from his tactics. Another heated incident involving Kabrhel happened at the 2022 WSOP $250,000 super high roller event. During a high-stakes hand, Kabrhel accused fellow player Dan Smith of angle shooting, sparking a verbal confrontation at the table. The accusation led to a tense exchange, with Smith defending himself and accusing Kabrhel of trying to create distractions to mask his own behavior. This wasn't the first time Kabrhel had clashed with other players in the middle of a game, but the intensity of this moment was particularly memorable. Some players, like Smith, believe that Kabrhel deliberately stirs up controversy as part of his strategy. Others think he simply lacks self-awareness, pushing boundaries without realizing how far he's gone. Regardless of the reasons, incidents like this only deepen the divide between Kabrhel and his peers. His tactics have become a major talking point, with some players calling for him to be penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct, while others believe that poker needs personalities like him to keep things interesting. What makes Martin Kabrhel so fascinating isn't just his antics or his success at the table. It's how polarizing he is. On one hand, you have players like Phil Hellmuth who, despite their own controversial styles, admit that Kabrhel pushes the boundaries of acceptable behavior. Hellmuth, known for his own outbursts, has said that even he finds Kabrhel hard to handle. For a player as outspoken as Hellmuth to be frustrated by someone else's behavior says a lot about how extreme Kabrhel's style truly is. On the other hand, there are those who admire Kabrhel for exactly the same reasons others despise him. In a game where everyone's looking for an edge, Kabrhel's willingness to use his voice, his timing, and his mind to disrupt the flow of the game is seen as innovative. Some players, particularly those newer to the professional circuit, have even tried to emulate his tactics, though few have found the same level of success. What's next for Martin Kabrhel? Despite the controversies, allegations, and constant criticism, he shows no signs of slowing down. As poker tournaments become more regulated, with stricter rules about behavior at the table, some believe Kabrhel will eventually be forced to tone down his style. But if history is any guide, Kabrhel won't change unless he's absolutely forced to. The truth is, Kabrhel thrives in chaos. Whether it's his mind games, his slow play, or the accusations of cheating, he seems to feed off the controversy. And in a world where poker is as much about entertainment as it is about skill, being talked about is a powerful form of staying relevant. Kabrhel may not be the most well-liked player, but as long as people are discussing him, he's winning in more ways than one. So the next time you sit down at a poker table, ask yourself this: would you rather face a silent killer or a constant talker like Martin Kabrhel?
Can I stand up to look at it?
Probably not.
It was a joke. Why is nobody smiling? That was such a great joke and nobody is smiling. How is this even possible? Dan, you should smile.
And that's just one part of the wild world of poker. Whether it's mind games, controversies, or big wins, poker always keeps us on the edge of our seats. If you want more stories like this, we've got plenty for you. Check out some of our other videos to dive deeper into the biggest moments and craziest players in poker history. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the action. There's always something new just around the corner.